How's everybody? Hello?
Right here.
Oh, yeah. What? There we go. All right. How's everybody doing tonight? Good, good, good. I'm glad that none of you got swept away by the apparent flood we had last week. If anybody wants to buy a boat that I may or may not have purchased on a whim, let me know after the show. But anyway, so I realized this week that I really need to get off of social media because I just find things on there that just tick me off. It's like the other day I was reading a post from my cousin's wife, and she's like, oh, she posted a point. She's like, did you know that 97.3% of chemo kills their patient? And I'm like, wow, I did not know that. I must be a ghost then because I must have had 2 years of chemotherapy, so that's apparent. It's like, how can you post something like that when you have someone in your family that is living proof that chemo actually works? I mean, it has nothing to do with the 25 mortality rate of chemo, or if you get a bone marrow transplant, it's a 50% shot of survival. No, that has nothing to do with it. It's like the whole fact that Satan just put the dinosaurs in the earth to trick us into believing that evolution was a thing. It's like, I mean, chemo was always a weird time when I was dying at 4 years old. Very slowly, painfully. I was the poster child for the anti-smoking campaign. But it's like, I received this Make-A-Wish, which is a special wish most cancer people get, where you can have any wish you want, like meeting Ariana Grande, going to Disney World. I settled for Disney World because Ariana Grande didn't exist back then. But it was always a fun time going to Make-A-Wish and Disney, which I went back because, when you're dying and you have barely any energy to stand, Disney World's not that fun. You can't do a lot. So that was fun. But I mean, Disney was always fun, and it was really weird because I remember for my special wish, I got put in this special village, and the village was full of all terminally ill kids, so that's not suspicious or the start of a horror movie. And also, it's you would take the train down, you could train down to this area where you could eat hot dogs, eat ice cream, and swim, and it's great. The only trade-off was, there was a guy that was in charge of this whole village that dressed up in a rabbit costume. And the trade-off was, every night he would come to one of the random kids' house and tuck them in. And my parents at the time were like, yeah, that seems totally safe. But, so, it finally, one of the nights we were staying at the village, it was finally my turn to get tucked in. And so, the guy comes over, and he looks like a knockoff version of Bugs Bunny that went to Harvard. But, so he's tucking me in, and he's put me into bed, and all of a sudden, I immediately just fall out of bed. Knocked myself right on the head, and instead of helping me up like a normal person would in a rabbit suit, he gets up, puts his hands on his face, runs in the bathroom and locks the door. And you guys have not lived until you've seen a full-grown man in a bunny costume run to the door, run into the bathroom, and lock the door. But having chemo and growing up in a very religious family was always weird. Because, I mean, it's you would always get those one religious old people that would come to church and yes, I was sick this morning and I was coughing up blood, but I know that was Satan trying to keep me out of church. I'm that's not Satan, that's tuberculosis. You're supposed to spread the word, not the flu. What's wrong with you? But it's again, there was always side effects from my treatments, and I remember this one time, I was not feeling great, which was all the time, but I remember I had this coppery taste in my mouth because I had just gotten my tonsils out, because that was a great idea for somebody that's terminally ill and dying. Let's just take his tonsils out. But I remember this very vividly, so I'm going to end my set here, but So I'm telling my dad, I'm like, Dad, I really don't feel good. He's like, all right, we'll take you to the church. He's like, we'll take you to the hospital after church. So we get out in the front porch. He's like, Dad, I just can't, I can't take it anymore. And then I lean over, bleh, coughed up blood. I apparently hemorrhaged. And then we had to rush me to the hospital. But luckily, that was probably my moment where I jumped the shark. And now I'm here. So thank you guys so much.